Hello and welcome to the Inside Stylist Podcast, where we talk all about interiors. From interviews with interior stylists, writers and assistants to trend forecasters, Instagram experts and the up-and-coming brands we all want to feature. There's so much to talk about. I'm your host, Emma Morton-Turner. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone, I hope you've had a fantastic Christmas. We are, as I record this, in the middle of Christmas and New Year. And I promised in the episode last week that I would be sharing with you a planner. So this is going to be a very short episode because I don't know if you can hear, I'm a little bit croaky because I've got a lovely cold. I have created a planner that reviews 2018 and plans for 2019. And the reason I have created it is because I filled one out last year, a really in-depth planner. And Sophie Warren-Smith and I've mentioned we're accountability partners for kind of setting up goals and planning action for work and things we're doing. Sophie does lots of courses, online courses and ebooks. And we would talk to each other about what we were doing for those. And part of that, we decided to do this year review for 2017 and planning for 2018. And last week we had one of our accountability calls and we both grabbed the planner that we filled out and looked at some of the elements. Now, we didn't go into too much detail. We're actually going to be speaking tomorrow and we're going to go through it thoroughly with our plan for next year. But it was really quite interesting. The things that we said we wanted to do, places we wanted to go, things we wanted to achieve, things we wanted to buy ourselves, how we were going to reward ourselves. We just looked at it and we were laughing because I don't know if Sophie's looked at it, but I've looked at it a couple of times. Once you're into March, you're kind of forgetting about it. So I hadn't looked at mine for a little while. And actually, I think I'd achieved a fair few. I mean, the things that I said I was going to buy myself as a reward for whatever, some of them I discarded because they weren't going to work. Some of them I was gifted. And one of them I did buy, so it was quite funny. You kind of change your mind, don't you? You think you want something, and when it comes to the crunch, you actually change your mind. But anyway, it was very interesting looking back. But also, looking back now at the things I wrote that I wanted to achieve in 2018, I can see any similarities. I can see where I've gone wrong, where I've done things I said I wouldn't do, where I'm thinking about moving forward into 2019. I don't want to repeat those same actions again. And that is the main reason for reviewing your year. So in the planner, it's quite long, it's quite in-depth. I kind of wanted to cover lots of areas. So I've covered your work, your personal life, your kind of health, wealth and happiness, so that it's in the forefront of your mind. It's very easy to move forward every year. You plan your resolutions, you plan I want to lose weight, I want to earn more money, I want to do X, Y, Z with work. But it's very easy to make the same mistakes over and over again. And there's that Einstein quote, the sign of madness is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results, or something like that. And by looking at what you wanted to do last year and what you didn't achieve, you can make sure that you don't just repeat that same action expecting a different result this year. So that's kind of reviewing it in a nutshell. By reviewing your year, you can see what you've achieved. You can see where you've held back. I mean, personally, I have had quite a crazy year with the website, and I can see exactly where I held back. There's some things that were a surprise, some things... Yeah, there's just lots of things that came up that I wasn't expecting. It's quite interesting to look back and think, yep, well, that was a problem and I held back there. But actually, I overcame a different goal and achieved X, Y, Z. So it's just really good to know what you have achieved and what you haven't. And it makes you think about what's important to you and why it's important and why you want to make that change in 2019. Acknowledging things like procrastination. What did you procrastinate about? Why did you do that? What were you negative about? Why were you negative? How can you turn that around this year? And also things like habits. Did you put any habits in place? Do you need to put habits in place? Think about things like that. Like a really big component of my life is morning routines and evening routines. Now, I do know that this is the way I'm built. This year, just gone by, 2018, habit forming for evenings and mornings has been massive for me, absolutely massive. And the moment I go off a routine, everything goes haywire. And there's a little element of ADHD here that I know that, having discovered that I had ADHD only about 3 or 4 years ago, putting routines in place has been huge for for me being productive. And I just want my 2019 to be much more productive. So the morning and evening routines are key for me. But I've spoken to quite a lot of stylists and writers, and ADHD and dyslexia and things like that come up quite a lot. And actually those routines massively help. They're all interlinked, which is why I talk about routines quite a lot. In fact, I might even do a little podcast on my evening and morning routine and how that makes my work. Yeah, let me know if you want me to do that. I'd be quite interested to hear what people think about. Another element that's really important to look at is the people in your life. There are going to be people who have really helped you in your life. There are going to be people who haven't helped you in your life. And maybe you've got a toxic friend that has made you feel like crap and you need to drop that person. It's good to think about that and acknowledge it. I think a couple of years ago, I'm going to talk about the word of the year, but a couple of years ago I had a quote of the year. And my quote was, "You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Now, this is a famous quote from an author. I have absolutely no idea who that author is, but I lived by that quote. I dropped a toxic friend. I only spent time with people who lifted me up. And that completely changed my life. It completely changed who I was surrounded by. And I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but there's this whole kind of thinking of, if you spend your time with 5 alcoholics, you will be the 6th. If you spend your time with 5 overweight people, you will be the 6th. If you spend your time with 5 people who are at the gym every day, you will be the muscle person next to them. It's all of that sort of thing. So it's really good to think about the people who influence you. And influence comes from all walks of life. It will be people who you're surrounded with on a daily basis. It might be your husband, it might be your kids, it might be a colleague. It can also be people online. So if you're always watching a Gary Vee YouTube or Instagram story, he might be one of your 5 a day. So if you surround yourself with the right people intentionally, then you're going to lift yourself up. Spend time with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th. That's the thinking. And it's that whole putting the thinking into place of, who do I want to surround myself with? Who will lift me up and make me feel good and not drag me down and make me feel like crap? So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what the reviewing is all about. When it comes to looking forward to 2019 and writing goals down, there was a study done. I'm going to flip my pages because I've written this down in the planner. There was a psychology professor called Gail Matthews, and she was at the Dominican University in California. She did this art and science of goal setting. And she found that if you become 42% more likely to achieve your goals and dreams simply by writing them down on a regular basis. And goals are better achieved if you share them with a trusted friend or colleague. Which brings me back to why I shared everything with Sophie, because things definitely happened this year that didn't happen the year before. So with that in mind, it's really good to write them down. Writing goals down as well, I would really encourage anyone who wants to fill this out. It's going to be a PDF that you can download. It's completely free, but print it off. I mean, it's 20 pages, so it is quite long, but print it off, write it by hand, because something happens when you're slowly thinking things through and it's going from your head into your hand. It materializes in a different way. You kind of don't connect with it when you're typing. You're typing, it's work, you can switch off and listen to what's going on around you. When you're writing, you take it all in really in a deep way. So it's really good to achieve it. And sharing it. The way Sophie and I work is we work in a trusted environment. We've known each other a long time, so she's perfect. We're on the same level. We've been doing styling for the same sort of time. Sophie does a lot more writing than me. I'd love to do as much writing as Sophie does, but Sophie does writing and styling. I mainly do styling. So we're kind of on this level pegging, and I'd really advise anyone who's, especially assistants, find another assistant. Plan your goals, plan who you want to work with, plan who you want to shoot with, plan test shoots and photographers. Get that partner to just speak every now and again, check in. The thing with having an accountability partner is something you wouldn't have thought of. They will say, well, have you tried this? Or have you seen this person on Instagram? They're talking about, this, that and the other, and that would really be beneficial to your goal. So it's just really good. And also, if you're going to speak to someone, like Sophie and I try and speak every week. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But having an accountability partner means that you will commit to doing things. So the way we work is we say, right, by the time I speak to you next week, I will have done 1 blog post and 1 Facebook Live. And if I haven't done it, I will do it the day before, but it still means I'm doing it. It's that accountability. Personally, this year, for me, accountability has been such a game changer. It's really pushed me forward. I know I've learned about myself that I need accountability. I am rubbish without a deadline. I think this is a very common theme, but deadlines are just fabulous for moving forward. So that's why I would encourage everyone to find someone who is on your level and go for it. Another thing that is quite good, like I said, I had a quote for the year when I said, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. My quote this year, 2018, was, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I think I've written it in the planner. I think I'd say it regularly, because it's something I learned over time, is that you have to push hard, and you have to push hard for a long time. And Instagram is a perfect example. You can't just put 10 posts out and expect to get another 1,000 followers. You have to post regularly. You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent for a long time. So along with the quotes, I don't know what my quote for 2019 is going to be yet. Actually, I think I do. I think if it's not a hell yeah, it's a no. I've had that one before. That's quite a good one. But I haven't put the quote in, but what I have put in is the word of the year. Now, the word of the year is something to help you live by. It's to help you keep focused. And what I did was I printed it off really big. I made it look beautiful on Canva, and I would put it in places. And I'm going to share with you, my word for the year last year was thrive. And actually, looking back, that was the wrong word. My word should have been focus, because I needed to focus to get somewhere. When you've built something, so I've kind of said I need to thrive, but the website wasn't ready to thrive. It's probably thrive would have been a better word for this year. But that's not my word for this year. My word for this year is organised, because I've discovered a different way of working. It's a bit back to the routines. Different things have happened in the last probably 2 or 3 months that I've felt a lot more organised, and my life is so much calmer and I'm much happier. So my word for this year is organised. But there are millions of words that you can use. It's anything about how you want to live and how you want to feel. It's all about what you want your life to be about in 2019. So you might choose adventure, or connect, be brave, risk, create, or listen. It could be absolutely anything. But I've got a load of words here that you can have a look at. But it could be anything that will make you think about what you want to do, and it will help with the decisions that you make. So if someone says, would you like to come for coffee? You think, right, am I going to be organised with this? Will this throw off my track? I won't be organised if I go out for coffee. No, I won't go out for coffee. It's something as simple as that. But the word for the year is really good. It's really good to have in front of you, or make it your screensaver, things like that, just to keep you really focused for the year. And the last page is about how to succeed using this planner. Some of it, I think I've already mentioned some of these, but once you've completed the planner, you should run through it with a friend and then review it again. Put it in your diary to review it in 2019 in December and see how you did. Did you achieve those goals? Did you write down your goals every day? Did you speak to someone as an accountability partner regularly? And writing your goals down regularly, you might find that you've got 4 big goals you want for work this year. You might find you've got 4 big goals for work this year, but you might want to work on them all at the same time. Maybe plan them out, put them in your diary, work on one at a time, and every day either print off that one and put it somewhere on your mirror so you see it regularly and you're reminded, or just put it on the top of your to-do list. I know journaling is massive at the moment. I'm rubbish at journaling. I would really like to do it every day, but I just, I'm out walking the dog at stupid o'clock in the morning, and to stop and write is just a bit of a problem. If you journal, it's really good to put your goal down, even if it's your goal for the day or a work goal that you're working towards. There's something about when you write something down and you think about it a lot, when you make decisions throughout the day, it's at the forefront of your brain and it makes you work towards those goals. So keeping them at the front of your mind means you will be much, much more likely to achieve them. And studies have proved this. So in a nutshell, that is what it's all about. The planner is in the show notes to this episode. I'm also going to do a blog post, and it's just going to be on the website. Very easy to share. I'm going to link it through on Instagram and Facebook so everyone can find it really easily. I'd love to know if you fill it out, if you find someone to do an accountability with you. I'm not going to ask anyone to share any goals. Sometimes it's quite a private thing. People don't want to share it. But I'd be really love it if this helped people get focused on what they want for next year, because it's been really beneficial to me. And I mean, I only started doing it last year. I've always done goals, but not in this sort of depth. So go check out insidestylist.com/planner and download your copy and let me know how you get on. Anyway, I'm going to go now because curry is sitting on the table and I'm desperately hungry to get some spices and get this cold gone. So I'm wishing you a very happy new year, a fantastic 2019, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and speaking to you all lots more in the new year. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to the Inside Stylist Podcast. You'll find all the details from today's show over on InsideStylist.com. Until next time, bye for now.